We got a good one today. Our question is, what if everyone lost their memory every day? So we went back and forth a few times on what exactly this means and how it happened. And we ended up saying everyone in the world at midnight Eastern Standard Time, because that's where we are, loses their memory.
So, because we went over a few options and we said that maybe it's tied to sleep. So when you go to sleep, it happens. But then it happens, if we go with that, then it happens for everyone at a different time because there's people in different time zones.
Yeah, same thing of doing it midnight in each time zone. And then we started talking about, potential solutions, and we're like, well, then you can just like kind of piggyback information like via the internet or a pen pal, and like, you have someone who's a few hours off of your schedule to like kind of, keep the memory things. It solved a lot of the memory problems in a kind of uninteresting way.
Yeah, we decided that the point of this question is to force people to reset every day. So everyone resets at the same time. It's midnight Eastern Standard Time.
It's very inconvenient in, non-US places, but you know what? They'll have to deal with that.
Yeah.
We hardly
That's
know
their
those
problem.
places anyway ever. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like it's just like basic. Oh, you lose your memory. We'll do it as of like today.
So you remember everything before today.
Yeah, remember everything before today, but then starting today, every day into the future, you don't remember anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Chris, I think you went into like the first few days after it happened. So I'm gonna let you start.
Yeah. So I mainly looked into how I wanted to see like how long would it take for us to realize that this is happening, and then how long would it take for us to actually do something about it once we realize it? Because obviously, if we're forgetting things, then we're going to forget that it's an issue, even if we do realize it. So the first indicator of this is happening, I figured was the date. So like, if you look at the date and you realize that it's skipped, then you'd be like, wait a minute, did I miss something? And that'll be like the first check mark that something is wrong.
I like the idea that it's like Wednesday morning, everyone comes into work and they're like, man, I feel like Tuesday just flew by, right? Don't remember it.
Yeah. The thing is, like, how often do you actually check the date? Because I don't really check the date that often.
I mean, every day. Like I check the date. Like,
Really? You check the date every day?
do you have like work appointments or calls or
I mean, I usually just
scheduled in your
know.
life?
I usually just know what's coming up, so I know. Like, I go on a week by week basis. I'm like, okay, Friday, this is happening.
My wife and I do have a page day calendar with dogs on it. So does that count? I feel like that counts.
Maybe.
We do technically like acknowledge the fact that it is a new day every day.
Okay, so you guys check the date more than I do, I guess.
But we also do just miss the calendar sometimes, so we wouldn't be that surprised if yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are dates like the weekends and things where I don't check the date, and if it was like, oh, if it's I thought it was like Thursday for half of today, that's fine. But like, it's not the norm for me.
Right. And then I was thinking, like, when I do check the date, how often do I actually question if the date is correct?
Yeah.
Probably not very often. I mean, so in the short term, if you like just skip a few days, you might not notice because it's only a few days, and you'd be like, oh, maybe I just had the date wrong before. Obviously, once the term gets longer and you like skip a month, then it'll be more obvious.
Right.
But like short term, it's not going to be a big deal. So I think there's going to be a grace period where people don't actually realize that the date has skipped. I was looking at like what would be an indicator of the fact that a date has skipped, because people pay attention to dates more during like important dates, and like you have important dates spread out throughout your life just here and there, but the collective important dates that everyone shares are holidays. So the United States has 10 national holidays. There's New Year's, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, President's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Now, the longest gap between those holidays is between President's Day and Memorial Day on February 17th and May 25th. That's 98 days between those two.
It's a dark time.
Yeah, it's a dark time for everyone. Now, I guess it's possible that you go in between these two holidays without realizing that the date is skipped. I don't think it's likely, though. I ended up averaging the gap between holidays just to figure out like an average of, if you're basing your realization that the date has skipped on holidays, then the average gap is 28 days between holidays. So that's kind of like the maximum, I would say, is before you realize. But I do think the grace period will be shorter than if you're just basing it on dates, because obviously there's more stuff going on than just the calendar date. Like if you're going to work and you're doing your work and then you forget that you did your work and you come back the next day and it's already done, then
Oh, that's so great. I love it. I love this already.
yeah, then that's great. On the flip side, if this happens during the weekend and you think it's the weekend, and then a day passes and you think it's the weekend again, and then another day passes for like a whole week, you think it's the weekend, and no work gets done at all, obviously the society, like all of society is going to kind of crumble slowly if that happens, because people aren't going to do work.
We've covered a few times about if everyone stopped working. I think that might have been actually one of our questions, if everyone stopped working for a week.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
So literally that question, and yeah, you end up losing power very quickly. Sanitary systems back up very quickly. Food distribution and things along those lines also collapse, like on the order of weeks as opposed to months.
Yeah.
So people need to work.
People need to work, but it's less likely it'll happen on the weekend because there's obviously 5 days versus 2 days. And then it's going to be a much bigger deal on the other side of the world, as we mentioned, because for at midnight Eastern Standard Time on the other side of the world is noon. So people are just going to be in the middle of doing stuff. They're going to be like eating lunch, and then they're going to forget what they're doing. That was a clip from Absurd Hypotheticals, the podcast where we answer dumb hypothetical questions. For the full episode, click on the link in the description.